Hello and welcome back to the Final Flight podcast. Myself, James, we are back for a special episode again tonight with our Cheltenham Ante Post countdown show. Week 4 now, so we're going to have some tasty picks going forward, hopefully into this week to add to our teams. And we've obviously got a special guest tonight. We've got George, who's headed over from the Gary Moore Yard. Hi, George, mate. Thank you for giving us your time and being a guest on tonight's show. Are you looking forward to being on and sharing all your secrets, hopefully?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, I'm happy to be here. Like, so me and James did the final furlong a couple of weeks ago, and we managed to find the right few winners between us. So hopefully we can be as useful this evening. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, looking back to that final furlong podcast, obviously you picked up some really, really big winners, and I think I'm pretty sure my only winner was the ancient wisdom that won.
I mean, I went and picked out what's the Chris Gordon horse, our champ.
Our champ, yeah.
Our champ, and I saw you had already put him up as a tip on your Twitter, so I think you can take credit for that one as well. I think.
Yeah, I mean, I'll probably hold my hands up, and I was thinking about it, but you nudged me the right way, and I thought I'll just put him up because George knows what he's talking about, and I obviously don't. So
you don't need to say that. You say it went up an hour before the podcast.
Oh, yeah, did yeah. No, but yeah, brilliant. Yeah, thanks for coming on. Obviously, Rich and Joe, your week, the teams we've put together so far, there's some decent horses in there. Obviously, Rocco run really well last week, so we were happy with that one. We feel like we've got the value on that. Obviously, you managed to get him in last minute to your team, Rich, and you got Marine in there last week, Joe. I mean, you looking forward to adding one to your team this week?
Yeah, definitely, mate. It's getting a bit not a bit tougher now, but obviously you don't want to venture into the handicaps yet. Few of the novices haven't run, so it's probably the toughest part now. But yeah, looking forward to it. We've had some good weekend of racing, haven't we? So getting stuck into that as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'll come to you, Rich. We'll talk about a couple of points of news from the week that's just gone. But I think it is a little bit tough these next couple of weeks, unless you're sort of taking a dive into the novice races. If you're trying to stick to the main races, it's probably quite tough. But I mean, I think you've got a bit of a wild card pick this week that we'll go into later. But are you looking forward to getting him in your team after today?
Yeah, like Joe said, it's been quite tricky now. Like you say, I'm trying to avoid maybe the novices until we see a bit more of them. So safe to say this week he's probably my curveball of my team, shall we say? But you never know. We'll see.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, I'm not sure what I think about it, but we'll soon find out. So what we'll do is then we'll talk about a few of the points from the week that's just gone. First up is obviously Allaho's return. You'll have watched it, Rich. You've got him in your team. What did you think of his return? You thought it was decent?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how competitive it was or how the form's going to stand up, but, it was just good to see him, jump out, show that enthusiasm, and yeah, he looks fairly well, so I'm sure he'll improve from it, and all roads lead to the right end. I just hope he came out of it well, and he stays fit.
Yeah, I mean, I'll come to you, George. I mean, obviously you've got a lot of knowledge, probably a lot more horsey knowledge than we have. And when you watch something like Allaho come back off this long layoff, what did you think of the run? Did you think he could kick on and be a player in the Ryanair again? What do you think?
100%. I think when you're obviously watching a horse come back from a break like that, it's tough because you sort of think they're all going to be out to get you, especially a couple of them have had runs. They're going to sit on your cuffs. They're going to make life difficult. And there was just, I don't think they tried particularly hard, but I don't think anything could have got him out of first gear. What he's got is just that cruising speed. He's got such a big stride that he's never really looks in trouble in his races. And obviously he jumps fantastically. And that's such a great attribute to have for these big horses when you need to have an easy run first time back. They're usually coming, obviously he's coming off a long layoff and an injury as well, but most of these horses are their first run of the season, they're coming back from hard races at Cheltenham or Aintree or Punchestown, and they just almost want to fall back in love with it again. And it's so easy to do that when you've got a horse that travels like he does and just gets in a rhythm, and he just destroys normal horses without coming out of fourth gear. And so from that perspective, he's had the ideal comeback. You sort of almost don't care if they get beat first time back. But it won't have even left a mark on him, that, will it?
No, I agree with that. And like you said there, I mean, I'd have been happy for him if he'd got beat, if he'd just got maybe tired late on or something like that, just to see him jumping well still. But to basically, like you said, not really get out of first gear and still be able to win off the back of that, I mean, he's only going to come on for that. I mean, Joe, are you worried about stage time? I mean, surely stage target's absolutely nowhere near an 80% fit Allaho, surely.
I don't know. Obviously, he was impressive. I mean, he got weight off Janadil as well. I'm not trying to knock him here. Obviously, he's 9-year-old. He's had an injury. Some might not come back, like George said. You want them to fall in love with it again, and he seemed to just do that, go from the front. And I mean, George said it, but he didn't ever look in trouble. He was just comfortable, wasn't he? I think Paul gave him a little shake after the last. I wouldn't say picked up massively. He didn't need to. He's got a high cruising speed. He beat them all probably a mile out or so. But no, it was good to see him back. I know Stage Stars entered in a couple of weeks, so that'll be interesting.
Obviously, Paddy Power, I think he's entered into, isn't he?
Yeah, for me, I think he's about 5-1. He's got to win that if he's going to come to the Ryanair and beat Allaho. My pick was personally on. I didn't think Allaho was going to come back and do well. I didn't think he would come back to the same horse he has. It showed there. I don't think he's miles behind what he was last year. He'll still need to improve, but he'll have that time. He's got Willie Mullins training him, so not concerned. But I think Rich has got a good price there in 7-1 anyway.
Yeah, it could look big on the day, but we shall see. So that's Allaho. Right, moving on then. Obviously, there was a big shake-up in the Mares division with Allegory Devassi beating the well-touted Mascada. I know a few people have mentioned her for the Mares Chase at 25-1. I'm not sure if it might be a bit bigger than that now, but I mean, I'll start with you, George, watching that race. I mean, does it just make you think the Mares divisions looks a little bit weak this year? I mean, I'll be Impervious out for most of, if not all, the season. I mean, they're going to struggle out for a superstar in that division this year.
Yeah, 100%. I think it definitely looks a weak enough division. It might just be a case of they all just go and beat each other again, and you sort of got to pick the horse that's best suited by conditions on the day, which I know is an anti-post show, but sort of doesn't allow itself for anti-post betting, really, does it? It's sort of hard to say much more than that. I was taken by the winner of the Mares race last year, and I think it'd be difficult to stop her from winning again, to be honest.
Yeah, I think if Impervious manages to come back, I mean, I've heard people say she's out all year or just most of the year. I mean, I'll come to you, Rich, just a quick word on it. I just thought it was interesting to mention. But, I mean, Impervious could probably win this race if it was a reappearance, couldn't she, the way that the first few have appeared?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably similar to Allaho. If she turns up 70% fit, she probably wins. But I was quite impressed with Allegory Devassi. You know, the amount of weight she gave away to everybody in the field and still managed to win by, I think, at least a couple of lengths. I mean, I fancied her for the Mares last year, and after she jumped the last, I thought she was just going to pull away, but Impervious just came back at her and outstayed her. So I still think she's got a good chance next year if she stays fit and Impervious stays away.
Yeah, I mean, I won't waste too long on it, Joe. I mean, you sort of in the same boat. If Impervious come back, she'd probably win, but the rest of them are a little bit of a muchness, aren't they?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, Impervious has just improved every run. Like Rich said there, jumping the last, I thought Allegory Devassi was beating her, and then she's fight back. I don't think anyone, you can't go their first run, but if they get a run in, blow the cobwebs off, and she turns up there fit, the way she's gone up that hill, you'd be looking, like you said there, for a superstar to come and beat her, really. And I don't think we've got that. Allegory Devassi might have improved. You don't know, might have got a bit stronger, but for me, Impervious, if it's like you say, it's a bit like Allaho. If they can get there fit, I don't think you'll get the price on the day, and probably will go off favourite, to be honest.
Yeah, that's fair play. Right, so moving on to the last couple of bits, really. I mean, there's one main bit of news that we'll talk about. Obviously, Down Royale's been this weekend, or Down Royale. I keep wanting to say Down Royale as if it's Burger King or something. Gordon Elliott obviously had an unbelievable weekend, winning pretty much all the races. And the main, obviously, one was the Ladbrokes Champion Chase. I mean, I'll come to you, George. Jerry Colomb, obviously. I mean, it was only a 4-runner race, but class in the field. What did you think? I mean, is he going to be a Gold Cup contender this year?
No, I've been on the Jerry Colomb bandwagon for a long, long time. Like I had him backed for the Albert Bartlett, and then when they ruled him out for the season, I immediately doubled down and backed him for the Brown Advisory for the following season at 33s.
Oh,
so I was absolutely devastated on the day.
I mean, we had the replay of it up on the last episode. I should have got it ready for you if I'd have known.
Imagine what would have been 14 months out. Absolutely devastated. But he's that he's only going to get better the further he goes. As comebacks go, you know, everything had match fitness over him, and he found a way. You know, it was a cracker of a race, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it was an absolute cracker. It's what we're all in the game to watch. And I think all the first three came out with credit. And obviously they say Manila Indo is going to go down the cross-country route now, as potentially will conflated. I saw an interview with Gordon Elliott where he said he's never seen a horse that jumps banks as well as conflated. So he would be of real interest if he went down that route. Sort of one of those, if he was in any other yard, he's going Gold Cup, no question. That's the sort of thing. You go, well, he's too good to go cross-country. And then you remember that he ran Galvin in it last year. Who actually started the season the same way, didn't he? In the same race, same pace, third, I think.
I think it was third. Yeah, I think he drifted a little bit on there, and then he went down that road.
But I'd be delighted with Envoy Len. We know not really take his first run of the season too seriously. That obviously when he was in novice hurdles and bumpers and novice chases, it's easy for horses of his ability to win first time out. So I hate when you see people going, well, yeah, this horse is great first time out, because when he was 4, he won his novice hurdle first time out. You go, yeah, but he was probably £20 better than everything else there. And every time he's run since he was 4, he's been beaten first time out. But I think he'll be a cracking horse. We know 3 mile round down rules, probably the extent of his stamina. And to be honest, I'd be all over him for the Ryanair again. Would be like, I don't know how likely they would be to let the two run against each other, Allaho and Envoy Len, but you know, Allaho's got to get there safe and sound first. But I don't really see which one you've got to let. They're both essentially defending champions in the race, because they both won the last version of it they ran in. And I think if it was me, if I had to step up one, I'd step up Allaho. But we'll see. Sorry, I've talked about every horse but the winner. But,
that's great. Carry on.
I think Jerry Colombe is only going to get better the further he goes. He's going to be one of those you can guarantee whatever he does between now and then, he's going to improve for the Gold Cup trip. He's going to improve for the Hill. But if that Brown Advisory was 3 mile 2.5, he'd have won it standing on his head. I think he's really, really special. The only thing I worry with horses like him, showing so much stamina at a young age, is they're going to slow down. So that we might have a narrow window to catch him at the Gold Cup trip before he turns into a national horse. So this is the season. I'm not sure I back him to win it again next year, because like I say, he could slow down very fast, especially with the injuries he's had. But this year he'd be my clubhouse favourite for the Gold Cup for sure.
Fantastic, that's brilliant, mate. I mean, I watched it. I thought it was. I mean, you know, people talk about small fields, but it didn't give us a good race. And I think Jerry Colombe, I think he answered a lot of questions. I mean, a lot of people were writing him off. I think we kind of writed him off a little bit in the preview podcast as well, mainly on the fact that obviously race fitness against, you know, Envoy Ellen, you know, they're no mugs, these horses, the top class. And I just thought he might have got found out, and he nearly very much did. But he just seems to be able to stay all day, like you're saying. If it's one of them where you talk about Gold Cup, something, if he's anywhere near coming towards the end, he's going to be one of the best stayers going up the hill. Yeah. I mean, I'll come to you, Rich. I mean, it was a fantastic race, and for him to do that first time out, I thought it was really impressive. And he's kind of put himself back in my eyes anyway. Definitely. What about you?
I was getting deja vu of the Brown Advisory again. You know, coming from the back, trying to make late effort.
Just not getting there in time.
I don't know. I'm still not convinced with him. I know he stays all day, but I just think Galloping and Brave Man's Game, for example, are just quicker.
Brave Man's Game's terrible. Sorry, carry on.
I mean, Jerry probably does outstay Brave Man's Game, but Brave Man's Game will make his ground up over the fences. Where I don't know. I think he's a player. He's a player, but I just liked him to see him beat that sort of horse a bit further, kind of exert himself a bit more.
You're not giving him a little bit of leeway with it being his first run against one that's already had a run?
Yeah, I suppose. I just like Brave Man's. I'm just a Brave Man's Game fan, so I'm a bit.
Well, I think I'm just a little bit like, well, now we've got another contender against Brave Man's Game. That's why I think I like him so much. I mean, I come to you, Joe. Obviously, you watched the race. I mean, I thought it was a class race. What did you think of Jerry Colombe? I mean, 100%. I know Brave Man's Game, but he got outstayed by Galloping. Jerry Colombe, like George says, you know, this could be the time to catch him if we're gonna have a go on him.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, Jack Kennedy said after the race, I watched the interview, he said, when they come to Cheltenham, sort of links with George's point about him not being sort of the quickest in a way. They would want the ground soft. That would definitely play into his hands. I think he'd shorten a lot if the ground was soft, because to be fair, I think if Good's in the description, I think there's not one horse that can beat Galloping. But yeah, I thought Rachel rode a brilliant race on MVLN, produced him perfectly. Couldn't have done much more. Ran very well. Jerry Colombe sort of. Yeah, I think it was pretty impressive, to be honest. I mean, I know you weren't a huge fan, but I had him in all my muggy yackers as such, and I was buzzing when he just got up. He looked in total control, and then I think it was about the third last. Jack Kennedy gave him a little shake, and then he went straight flat to the boards, sort of dropped slightly, and I thought it sort of showed that Allen wants no more than 3 miles, really, in a way. And sort of had that burst of pace where Jerry Colombe was more one-paced, took a bit longer to get through the gears, obviously got there in the end. So I think the Gold Cup trip will definitely suit. Soft ground should suit, will improve. I was well impressed, to be honest. Coming out of novice company, his form wasn't standout. These are brilliant horses who's up against Conflated. Gordon Elliott come out and said he's one of the best jumpers of Banks. So I mean, what more can he do? Coming out of novice company, really, beating Envoy Allen, who's unbeaten at Down Royale, and Conflated, who's arguably one of the best jumpers, and they were both fit.
Yeah, I mean, like you both mentioned there, I think it is pretty crazy that we're talking about that race and the likes of Conflated and Middle Indo are probably going to go across country. I mean, Gordon Elliott is going to be pretty well handed in that cross country if he runs Delta Work, Galvin, and now Conflated. I mean,
he'll run out of jockeys.
Say,
back in the day, no one wanted to ride in it, did they? I know it's not so much that way anymore, but like back in the day, if you had 5 runners in the cross country, you wouldn't find decent jockeys for them anyway. Like you wouldn't, like Ruby never rode in it. Like AP didn't ride in it until very late on, I don't think. Like it was great. You get like people like my mate Andrew Glastonbury used to pick up a ride in it every year because was it Double Dizzy, I think it was called. And suddenly no one wants to ride it on the day. So he'd have a spin around the festival. It was great.
It's crazy. I mean, it's just like Gordon Elliott just seems to be creating his own little race and thinking, well, I'm just going to get a win every year. Why not? I mean, it's one on the board, I suppose. But yeah, it is pretty crazy. But yeah, I think Jerry Colombe, I think I'm starting to come round to him. I think more. I think that run impressed me. I was a bit like, if he runs well, he might sway me. But I definitely think he's definitely going to be a player. So we shall see. Sweet. So the last little bit of news is I'll just give a little mention to before we move on. Obviously, Gescale won the Sefton at Aintree. I thought it was a fantastic run. We obviously know we've been to the Green on Guerrero Yard. The guys and the girls who work there have been sending us loads of stuff, and we just thought it was a fantastic run. I know they've got a bit of stick Aintree for the hurdles and fences being taken out, but come to you guys, Rich and Joe. I mean, what did you think before I come to George? What did you think of Gescale? I mean, what a run that was! He's just a brilliant horse, isn't he?
Yeah, he was unbelievable. I mean, I was on the way to the football, so I was checking my phone and the signals going on and off. But every jump I seen, he didn't jump a twig. I know I watched it when I got home, and I was so impressed. I mean, for me, he was riding his own. He was in his own race, really. I mean, he was always in front. He was jumping well. He never missed a beat. To be honest, I was buzzing. And then I know you mentioned about the fences getting taken out. Was it Master Chewy who got swallowed up that day? Yeah. And I was a bit worried about. I was a bit worried about that. And then he just kept finding. I think the soft ground played into his hands. Obviously, was in France before that, raced on very soft, and we know in France when they say very soft, it is very soft. So no, I was absolutely buzzing with that, and I couldn't think any more. One that did catch my eye, which I don't know if we're going to cover. I did like Irish Points Return. I was very impressed with that.
Yeah, I mean, I'll come to you there, George. I mean, you'll probably know a bit more, but when they start taking these hurdles and fences out, how much of a real impact does it have on these sort of races, like some Massachusetts getting swallowed up and things like that, or Giovinco, for example, who did obviously still win, but I mean, when it turns into when they jump in the last and they've still got quite a long way to go, how much of an effect does it really have?
I personally think it's massive because a lot of from sort of 3-4 out to the line, you just ride on instinct, really. Like, if you miss a hurdle, right, okay, I've got to get after this. So I just lost 2 legs. Or if you jump something really well, you go, right, I can sit up for a second, get a breather here. Once you take those hurdles out, it's a real chess match. When do you go? And like, if you're on the horse that stays better and you know your horse stays better, it's so tempting. Just send him on, turning in. And when the ground's bad, like it was today, that day at Aintree, or certainly it looked gluey. Do you know what I mean? It looked like it was really taking it out of them. You end up with some real funny results. Like I said, Master Chewy went for home, got swallowed up. The same happened for what's his name, Brewing Up a Storm. Like, where you just like, you think, right, this is my race, I'm going to take by a scruff of the neck, and then just get beaten by another horse. And I think it had a huge impact on the other races, which is what impressed me so much about Jess Gill, because he was there to be shot at the whole time. We know he gets a bit further, but I'd say he ran a better race in the Sefton than the Beecher last year.
Yeah.
Having backed him for both. But I was really impressed, because even when the ground's good at Aintree, that's a long run in, and being in front the whole way out the running, you've just got a target on your back the whole way. The loose horse probably did him a favour up until it sort of nearly ran across him. But yeah, exactly. But, this has to be believed, this form. All the right horses finished behind him. You know, like Percussion, who's obviously finished behind him before. Ferro Bamboo, Venetia's flying, loves heavy ground. Nasalam was first time over the fences, but I thought, you know, he was hunted round sort of to pick up the pieces. He was ridden with a lot of restraint, sort of getting jumping, and he would have been finishing stronger than most just from the way he was ridden, and still nowhere near good enough to get to Jess Gill. But you've got to remember, this horse keeps going up in the handicap and just keeps running this race. I say this is probably coming from a place of an ex-point-to-point jockey, but he'd be wonderful for the Aintree and the Cheltenham Fox Hunters, wouldn't he?
Yeah, it would. Yeah,
he'd be the horse to do the double, because he doesn't mind 2 mile 4, 3 mile 2. He doesn't care at all. He'd be the dream for both those races. And given Ollie Greenall and Josh Guerrero are both amateurs as well, I like to think they got it in the back of their minds when he's like 10, 11, maybe starting to power's starting to wane a bit.
Yep.
You can't be anything else but impressed. I wouldn't back him in the big one, so I don't think he gets 4 miles. But you know, roll on to the Beecher, isn't it? That'll be his next target. Again, I'm not sure I'd back him there, because I think it's the limit of his stamina. But he couldn't do any more than he did on the day, could he?
No, like you say, I thought he jumped really well, and like you say, you've probably been in that situation yourself where you're out in front that long, and you're just thinking, I'm just waiting for something to come flying past me. Something's probably going to come. Loose horse, I was a little bit like, oh my lord, he's going to come across him and almost stop him. But I do think it helps him a little bit. I mean, I'll come to you, Rich. I mean, we obviously, when we were at the yard, we could tell how much they love this horse. I think when we went, he just had that win in France and come back over, and they were all very excited for another crack at the Sefton. And I think luckily they got the well-deserved win, and it's a great one for the yard. They're obviously going places, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. It was fantastic to see. Bit of redemption, because he finished second in last year, didn't he? So
yeah,
you know, it's great. It's great for that yard. You know, we were there, we saw how fantastic it is. But he jumped well from the front. Like you say, I think the loose horse kind of helped him get past to the line. I think it kind of dragged him through that last stage. No, it's a fantastic run. I think did Ollie mention the national? But yeah, I don't think he'll get the 4 miles, unfortunately. But it's definitely one to look out for. I think they say he just keeps winning, and that's all you can ask.
Yeah, he's going to find it tougher as he goes up, but they might go to the national. But like you say, I'm not sure he stays that fully. But certainly one to enjoy, that we enjoyed watching on Saturday.
I'd rather see him go cross country at Cheltenham. I really fancied him for it last year. I'd rather see him go there than the national. And if he did rock up there, you know, your mark doesn't matter anymore in that race. It really doesn't. Like, it's just whoever's going to take to it the best. And you know, he loves the Aintree fences. No reason he shouldn't love the cross-country fences. They had him in it till the last minute last year, I think, and took him out. I'd love to see him go there.
Well, that, like you say, that could be a line into that. If they think, well, this year maybe we just go for it. Who knows? I mean, it could be some race, the cross-country this year.
But if those horses, if conflated in that runs, he'll probably be about £5 out the handicap. But again, 10 stone too, you don't really mind when you're receiving 2 stone from all the others, do you?
No, very true, very true. Fantastic, right? Well, that's the news from the week that was. Obviously, some really good stuff has gone on. So, like last week, this section, obviously, George, we're going to come to you. If you just sort of talk through maybe 2 or 3 or whatever, sort of couple of horses that you've worked closely with, or that you're maybe looking forward to this season, or a few of the big names that we already know, how are they getting on, sort of thing. I mean, have you managed to think of a few for us?
Yeah, like the sort of place I like to sort of shop around this time of year is all the horses that were just below. Like it's the same. Like we're seeing it. We saw it just now with Grange Clare West over in Ireland. The horses that were just below, sort of capable of winning at the level that they were at over hurdles, and now going chasing. I just picked out 3 horses here that they might not be world beaters, but they were on the verge of sort of being very nice horses over hurdles, and they've been schooling well at home. So I've got Issar Dairy, who runs next week. You remember him, he won a handicap by 2 1/4 lengths at Huntingdon last year, novice handicap hurdle, and then sort of struggled again once he was up £6. He'll be nice. I've been riding him every day at home, and he's in much better nick now than he was when he came in. Like, he had a lot of bad habits and things. We've ironed them out, and he's been schooling really well. So he's one I'd look forward to. He's now owned by Tommy Ware. He was a Ollie Harris horse. You know, we had Issar and Iscar Dairy, because that's not confusing at all. But yeah, he'll be one certainly to improve over fences. He's got a mark of 112, and I think he's in a handicap chase next week. I'd have to check where it was, but yeah. And the next one we have actually seen this season. Heaven Smart ran at Wetherby the other day, and this is why you've always got to watch the replays, because I was playing football while the match was on. I read the Sporting Life comments on the race. I thought, oh my God, he's run like a drain. They said something like, you know, weak and losing touch when unseated 2 out, or whatever it was. And you actually watch the race, he's just starting to stay on. Like, he's a horse with bottomless stamina. His best run last season was at Lingfield in the heavy over 2.5, where he just got beaten neck by a horse of Sam Drinkwaters. He just got pegged back at the last second. But he'll be a really nice horse this season for handicaps. Like, he knocked my eye out when he came back into work. Like, he was always just he wasn't necessarily narrow, but he was small, and like, he had a shoulder and he had a bum, but it wasn't much of him, you know. In general, he was just quite a compact little horse. Yeah. He's not the sort of horse you would think would grow over the holidays, because he was all in proportion. Suddenly he came back in. I asked someone the first day, I was like, what's that? Because he's half a hand bigger and 2 hands wider. I'd be really looking forward to him. See, I like the look of him at Wetherby. If you watch that race back, he's just starting to stay on when he unseats Keelan. Like, I'll be looking forward to seeing him in a more ordinary sort of handicap, hopefully on soft or heavy, around Plumpton or Fontwell. I said Fontwell would be preferable, maybe even Boxing Day, one of those handicaps there. They really cut up. And off the back of an unseat and a pulled up, I think he'd probably be a decent price. But I'd be looking forward to seeing him.
But going off the Sporting Life description, it probably will be a good price, and hopefully.
Yeah, but exactly. Yeah. It's abysmal. Whoever, I don't know who wrote it. I won't say too much, because there might be someone I need to speak to at some point in the future.
Oh, there'll be a letter in post after this now.
it'll be Rory Delagi or someone. Send the boys around, mate. But yeah. And then the last one, keep it brief, is Avils, who you probably remember from, again, Fontwell Plumpton handicaps over hurdles last year, all over 2 mile or 2 mile 2. He was second 4 times in a row on all of his starts for us so far. But the last was the closest he got. He was beaten a length and a half by Highland Frolic, who I think is a reasonable level of horse of Milton Harris's, who's only rated 98 at the time, now rated we went up to 109 before coming back to 107. He's been schooling really well, really, really well. I actually saw him, it was the day before the Cheltenham meeting a couple of weeks ago. And because he's just a black, like a sort of fairly nondescript sort of black horse. I saw Jamie winging up the fences on him. I went, Jesus Christ, Haddocks will win tomorrow. And he was like, that's not Haddocks. But Jesus Christ, this has never jumped a fence in public before. And I was like, okay, so this horse can jump. And he does. He's got an athletic sort of build. He's by Sante Sons. So he's probably forward going enough to just go out and make the running and novice chase and make it look easy. He's had a couple of entries so far, and for one reason or another, he's not taken part with the ground and things like that. Like he wouldn't want it he wouldn't want it too good, and up until recently it had been. So hopefully they'll find a race for him fairly soon. Again, be a novice handicap sort of job, and I fully expect him to win on his first chase start, provided he doesn't bump into something mad, because he's rated 104. You know, the sort of horses that you think you would bump into at Plumpton and that will be in the novice chases rather than the novice handicaps.
Yeah.
Because they still do the bonus if you win a novice chase at Plumpton, and then any race at the festival, you get, I think, 10 grand or something. But the novice handicaps are a bit more open, a bit more competitive. So yeah, those would be my three I'll be looking forward to from a betting perspective. If there'd be one that can kick on and become a real nice horse, it's probably Cotmask. Cotmask, he made a nice chasing debut the other day. Jumped really well. I think he finished third, I think. And he's one we've always thought a lot of. And I think he could kick on and potentially become a sort of 130s, 140s horse at least this year.
Absolutely fantastic, mate. That's brilliant. So thank you for all that. I mean, I will give one mention there. You know, you mentioned Haddocks Des O'Bone. We spoke about him because it was on the final furlong. He was having his run. Obviously tipped up. What did you think of his run? What do you think he was going to win? I thought he was jumping really well up to that point.
Yeah, he looked like he would probably have won if he stood up. But it's like I said on the final furlong beforehand, and I'd have said the same about Editeur de Gite the other day. I think real forward-going 2-mile chasers, you've got to avoid them first time out, because
I think you even said that it could be a little bit fresh. It's a bit risky.
Well, I said the line with these real classy 2-mile chasers between like perfection and disaster is so narrow. Yeah. And you're talking about first time out when they haven't got their eye in properly, unless they've been for a real like racecourse gallop somewhere. But no racecourse is letting you go and you might get a spin round a flat course that's just had its last meeting of the season. Like Newbury aren't letting you go there and gallop round there flat out over the fences before their first meeting. It's not going to happen. I just think they don't have their eye in. That's always dodgy anyway. And when they're those front running, forward going types, they can be a bit gassy. They're not the most pliable. Do you know what I mean? Like on a 3-mile chaser, first time out, you say, "Come here, we're just going to pop round the first circuit." Horse like Editeur de Gite or Haddocks Des O'Bone they're just going to run and they're going to do what they're going to do. And if they get it wrong, they're going to end up on the deck. And or they get very tired. It's one or the other, and I think it happened with both of them. To be honest, that it means nothing towards the rest of their season. I can't back horses like that first time out.
So, do you think they'll improve massively then from the first run to the second?
Massively. Like you look, Editeur de Gite, the last time he made the running first time out was when he unseated Jamie Moore at Ascot. The following 2 seasons, we've dropped him in, and he's been beaten on his return. But at least he's got round, you know. Like it's one of those. It's very, very hard to have a horse like him that does it the hard way from the front to go and do that first time out. And if you try and do it, there's a high chance you end up on the deck.
Yeah.
I mean, like you say, you try and put them in, and they maybe don't be as effective, but at least they're getting that running, aren't they? Yeah.
You only had to look at the drift on Editeur de Gite to realize everyone's looked through the form, realise what's going to happen. He's going to be dropped in. And like he ran a bit too gassy and he blew up. Like he was as fit as we could get him at home. Like, there's nothing like that. Like he's not gone there with loads left on. He's just done too much. And so's Haddocks, but he's ended up on the deck, and Editeur de Gite's been able to sort of pop over the last few fences and get home. But they'll both be back to the horse everyone knows next time out.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Haddocks definitely next time out. I think he's got bags of talent. Fantastic. Well, George, thank you for that. That was really good to listen to, actually. I really enjoyed that. So we do appreciate it massively, and hopefully the viewers do as well. So we're going to move on then to the next bit, the final part of the show, the important bit, where we put our next festival selections in. I'm going to start with Joe for obvious reasons. You'll find out in about 30 seconds why. But what I'm going to do is I've had a go at putting I put a graphic together. Now, I asked for a picture from the lads, but I didn't actually get one. So I've put the festival team on a bit of a graphic. Let's hope I click the right one. Yeah, so Joe's festival team currently is obviously Stage Star 16 to 1 for the Ryanair, Irocco 25 for the Brown Bears, and Marine National for his Arkle. Now, the rumour has it that you're thinking of playing your team captain this week, Joe. So I'm going to let you take it away, mate. Who is your week 4 pick for your festival team?
You are right. So my team captain for this season is going to be El Fabiolo for the champion chase. He is short, but looking into novices and handicaps is just not right this far out. He went off 11 to 10 last year for the Arkle, and going into the champion chase, I can't see the challenge. It's a complete penalty kick for me. I mean, I know we shake the head and stuff, but when you look, as soon as he's even entered and he has his first run, he's going to go into 4-7 or something, and then you're going to look through, and I mean, John Bond's going to be in there. Won't beat him. I know I was all over him last year. There's no chance. And then you're looking through. Willie's other horse is not going. Energamine, sad, but he won't be there. Then you're looking at Edward Stone and stuff like that. I just think this horse has got bags of stamina, bags of speed. He's beat everything he has to. He was so impressive last year. I mean, he beat Banbridge at Leopardstown, and then he was going straight to Cheltenham, and I thought, I fancy John Bon here, and he made John Bon look slow. And John Bon ain't slow. I don't think John Bon's a bad horse at all. So my team captain and the 2-point win will be on El Fabiolo.
Yeah, I mean, I was just looking at George's facial expressions there. He's probably thinking, what show have I come on here? Ante Post about 20 weeks out, and we're putting up an 11 to 10. But, that's what the captain's there for. You get double points, so fair enough. It is tough to pick one out at the moment if we're not going for novices. But, no, I mean, he probably will win. So it's one of them. But I'll fair play, Joe. I'm going to come to you then, Rich, because, I mean, I think your selection, I can't wait to see his... I've clicked on the button there by accident. That's not the same pick, by the way, because that would have been funny. I'll let you go for it, Rich, because I'm dying to hear the explanation to this one. I mean, just take it away, mate. Let me know what you think of this, George, after this. I'll come to you after this.
I mean, this could be quite embarrassing, but I've gone for the Stayers Hurdle, Sir Gerhard. Just a little curveball, just throwing it out there.
I actually guessed it would be that. I've been sitting here thinking, I bet it's Sir Gerhard.
The insight on this show is incredible.
I don't disagree.
You could have one mad pick, haven't you? And this is my mad pick.
Sorry, hang on, one more before you start. I forgot to put your team up. Sorry, you've got obviously Vassal Vega 11 to 2. The Arkle was first week, and Allaho obviously 7 to 1 for the Ryanair, and Rocco, you got him in his team as well. So.
So had 3 solid picks, and I've got a mad one. I think that's
no, there's not wrong with it, mate. Obviously, I mean, you never know, but I'll like to hear your description, mate. Go for it, pal.
I just don't think he jumps a fence very well. I just think the sooner they're getting back over hurdles, I think is when we'll see the old Sir Gerhard back. I mean, if you go through his chase form, yeah, he won first time out, but then he finished 9th, 2nd, pulled up, and obviously he fell today. I just think he needs to go back over hurdles, and like you say, the Stayers division is so open. I mean, I know you've gone for Tehupu, and I know there's the talk of the French horse potentially coming into play, but yeah, I remember watching his Ballymore win?
Yeah.
I mean, that was over 2 mile 5, and the conditions there was horrendous. I think you were there, James, weren't you? It was like
I was there, yeah, and I was absolutely wet through. I remember it, yeah, I remember it very well.
I mean, the description was soft, but they watered it beforehand, and then it absolutely pelted it down all night, all day. So I think what stays is about 3 miles, just under 3 miles. Yeah. I think he'll get the trip, providing it's not the monsoon again. Like you say, it's a bit of a wild card, but I think Willie potentially may switch him back over hurdles now. They may give him one more chance, but I think come March, you might see him over hurdles. And I think potentially this, because it's so open the Stayers, I think it's worth just throwing a dart at it at the price, just in case. Like I say, I do rate the horse. I think he's a good horse. I just don't think fences has been his cup of tea. I think he had a bad prep last year, and I just don't think it's gone to plan. So, yeah, just taking a risk. 1 point each way, just in case.
Oh, you absolute bottle job. I mean, I'll just come to you on that, George. Obviously, you guessed it, we're going to be Sir Gerhard. I mean, what are your thoughts in terms of like former Ballymore winners? I mean, we're obviously seeing Imperial Pass won it last year and is now going back in trip. do you think that Sir Gerhard does he get the 3 miles for a Stayers hurdle type, or even over 3 miles anyway?
There's a difference between going straight from the Ballymore to a champion hurdle while the horse is still young and going several years later. He's just missed out essentially what would have been his champion hurdle season. He's going to be slowing down. He's had a serious injury, so he'll definitely be slowing down. And this is the last race. I missed it today. I watched it just before we came on air, and I'd seen it come up on my phone, the first 2, and then I clicked the video to start it going. Like, Jesus Christ, Sir Gerhard's there. I was shocked he wasn't in the first 2. And then as I was watching him go around, like I thought the same at Cheltenham. The engine is still there. Even when he's right at the fence, even when he's perfect, he loses 2 lengths in the air. And he's doing nothing wrong. He's just ponderous. Like, he's just not sure. And then you watch him in between fences. He makes up half the ground every time. And how hard that is to keep losing ground, then making it back up, losing ground, making it back up. To horse of Dino Blue's quality means that engine is still there and he still wants to do it, which is the most important thing. If they gave him another season over fences, if they carry on this season with him over fences, by the end of the year, he won't want to know. Because it's tough. It's so hard doing that every time. But while the engine's intact, hopefully this fall will be the catalyst, provided he's okay, for him to go back over hurdles. And I think you can't go champion hurdle with him. It's just not going to happen. Like, there's very little point. I think a horse like him could have that much quality that he gets the trip just because he's doing so little early doors. As long as he settles. I always said the same with Frankel. So he would have won over 2.5 as long as he settled, because he's doing a hat canter to what everyone else was doing. You watch when he won the Jubmont. If he ran 1.5 miles at his pace or 1.25 miles at his pace, he might not get it, but he's not. He's running it at normal horses' paces. And that's what Sir Gerhard will be doing. Like, it's such a bad division, the Stayers, bar potentially if Irish Point were to come up in trip, that he's going to be hacking all the way around. And I think it's a really good shout. If you can get a price this far out, especially each way, I think it's a good shout. But you're gambling on him actually going. But I think it's the most sensible thing to do at this point with the horse. He's had plenty of goes over fences and it's not happening.
Willie did say it, didn't he? Willie mentioned it at the start of the season on his stable tour about him, saying that if he doesn't jump so well the start of the season, they are going to revert him back. Probably links to George's point there that by the end of the season, the horse won't want to know, he'll have lost it all. And then you've got a horse who's had a serious injury, slowing down, doesn't make the game anymore. It's hard to get them back in.
Yeah. Did he not actually get an entry in it last season? I want to say they were worried that they weren't going to have time to get a couple of novice chasers into him.
I think that was the case. I think he was entered in the Stayers, but obviously they managed to get him out. But I do think it is an angle in, definitely, if they do. I mean, obviously, like you say, you're banking on Willie Bingo, him going that way, and he's all right if he's fall and stuff. But, you know, it's tasty. I mean, like you said, I've said when I put to you, Pope, the Stayers Hurdle division's not the strongest at all. I mean, I know people have mentioned this French, I think he's called Film or something like that. I mean, I could have
won yesterday.
Yeah, the one that won yesterday. I mean, you know, it's all well and good winning over there, but coming over, it's risky. But other than that, Irish Point is obviously one of the main ones. I mean, people keep saying that if Tupu's going, he's not going. So it'd be interesting to see what it throws out. But Sir Gerhard definitely probably won't be 20-1 if he's over hurdles next time out or at some point in the season before, will he?
I say that French horse I had a good read for his form earlier, and it is frightening. Like he's got an RPR of 168. He's only 6, I think, and he's already got 1,028,000 in prize money.
It's a little bit more than probably one over here.
I don't think he's never been out of the 4, and I think he's won more than he's placed, but he's been 4th once. Every other start he's been in the 3.
George,
mostly graded races. Yes, yeah.
Just a question, mate. Obviously, you know, like getting horses from France and stuff like that. Do you think it'd be a problem if he didn't have a prep run in England and he'd come over for his first run in England at Cheltenham?
Not at his level. In grade, like proper open company graded races. What you'll see in France is in novice hurdles, maiden hurdles. The reason that quite a lot of these horses come over to England with big reputations, they've won by 40 lengths or something, and don't go on. People talk about in France that they hack and then they sprint coming into the straight. That happens in normal races. It doesn't happen in graded races. In like proper, you watch the Grand Steep, they go flat out all the way around. That's like 3.5 miles. As long as they've got form in top level races where they go a gallop, it shouldn't be a problem at all. There's no reason the type of hurdle makes a difference. What people worry about is the style of racing being different. And anywhere you go in the world, once you get to the top level, the style of racing is pretty much the same, bar maybe America on the flat, just as there's so much emphasis on gate speed. But pretty much anywhere else, they race the same because it's top class horses. If you think you're on the best horse, you want to make sure there's the biggest test. You're not going to hack for a circuit.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is, as a Teahupoo backer, I should be very, very worried about this fella coming over.
I think the Teahupoo backer, as someone who backed Teahupoo for it last year, I'd be worried in general. I think he looks to have lost a lot of sort of tactical speed as he's gone on. Considering he was a champion hurdle candidate not that long ago, he doesn't look like he has the answers when the horses come up round him anymore. He always, maybe it'd be different in a really strongly run 3 mile stairs hurdle. Like
he wants a bit of a slop, doesn't he?
Yeah, that's exactly. When the rain came last year, he shortened up. I think if it was a bog and they went quick, he could be the sort of horse I'd back on the day, but I couldn't back him anti-post.
Fantastic. Well, that's one of my team in the bin then. So, it's only Stairs Hurdle anyway. Nobody's bothered about Stairs Hurdle. Right, so I'll do my selection next year.
We'll be in cross country next year, James. Don't worry.
What's that?
We'll be in cross country next year.
Yeah, I'm looking for cross country. Yeah, 100%. Fantastic. Well, I'll do my pick and then we'll move on to. We'll finish on George's pick. He'll obviously give us the only winner out of the 4. So. What I'll do is my team, the only one that put my mug face on this. So my team is currently Irocco. I've lost a little weight on that picture actually, but Irocco for the Brown Advisory. The loser for the Stairs Hurdle at 2 points win, so that's in the bin. And Love Envoy, I went for the Mare's Hurdle. I've missed the price off there, but it was 12-1 that I got on there. I think she's got a good chance, but I won't ask George's opinion on any of my picks because he's probably going to say they've got no chance. So
Love Envoy's there's a thumbs up. We like that.
I'll take that then. The thumbs are up. The thumbs are up for Love Envoy. Brilliant. And hopefully the thumbs are up for the next pick that I've got. Mine also had a run this weekend, and the one I'm going to go for, and then we've all got a pick in the race actually so far, is going to be Envoy Allen for the Ryanair Chase, and you can still get 16-1, which was a little bit to my surprise to be honest. But I just think. Obviously, his reappearance this season, it looked like a pie bomb and things like that. But the Ladbrokes Champions Chase that we've obviously just seen, Jerry Colomb, I was really impressed. I think he looked like he was obviously there to win. He was unlucky, just got a little bit outstayed. But I just think he's got a great chance. I think it's up in the air, obviously, with Allaho, what's going to happen. But, I mean, for me, if you're happy to back Allaho now at 7-2, you should probably be happy to take this fella at 16-1. Obviously, like what George said earlier, they're both returning champions from the previous ones that they've won. You know, I mean, at the end of the day, he's a class horse. I mean, he's going to be 9 going 10, and so is Allaho, to be fair. So you are taking a bit of a punt on a hold ahead. But, you know, you go back through his form. He's a Ballymore winner. He's a champion bumper winner. He's obviously a Ryanair winner as well. And I just went through the field, and it just looks again, it just looks like it's going to cut up massively. I mean, John Bond's probably going to go champion chase. And I thought that Stage Star Joe's picked him, so that's cursed and probably won't win. And then you've got obviously Envoy Allen at 16-1. I just thought it was really big. El Fabiolo's champion chase. Banbridge, we've also obviously mentioned him previously. We're not sure what he's going to go on the ground. I mean, it's come up sort of soft lately the last few years, so I probably wouldn't have him. Shishkin Gold Cup, Real Wacker Gold Cup, Conflated's going to win the cross country, and so on and so forth. And I just thought it was an open race. And you know, Envoy Allen's one of them enigmas where, for some reason, throughout his entire career, I seem to have backed him quite a lot, but only really backed him when he's been beat. I mean, one of my biggest bets back in my career as a muggy punter was the Turners when he fell. I could not believe that after obviously the shenanigans of moving over with what happened with Gordon Elliott and stuff. He obviously looked a superstar up to that point. And it was just unfortunate, but I would agree with what you guys have said in terms. I think 3 mile is literally the absolute limit of his staying ability. And I think that's why he just got done over by Jerry Colomb. But I just think back to the Ryanair, I think they're obviously dual-handed. Whether they'll run both, we shall find out. But I just thought I'd rather take a chance on Envoy Allen at 16-1 coming back and winning it again. Because if Allaho, for whatever reason, maybe doesn't quite fire again, he is obviously quite short in the market now at 17-2, even though we've obviously seen him back. But I still think that's pretty goddamn short, to be honest. But I just thought Envoy Allen, I'm just going to finally get behind him at a decent price. And I didn't want to take a punt on a novice just yet. I probably will bid at some point, but I just thought Envoy 16 to 1 is the one I'm going to land on for the Ryanair. So that's my pick against Allaho and Stage Star.
He beats Hitman James at least, doesn't he?
Well, we're not going to mention Hitman. I know I mentioned Hitman earlier on in the series. I didn't put him up, but I'm not going to give up on him, and I probably will have I mean, he's about 50 odd to 1 now. He might even be 66s in places after the completely bombing out.
I'll give you 100 to 1.
I'll have a pound each way on that. In fact, no, £2 win, please, on that, definitely. Look, I mean, there's a couple. I mean, Protectorate was one that piqued my interest. Would they sack off the Gold Cup maybe if he wins the Betfair Chase and maybe go for something like, I know it's same owners but not same trainer, but and Edward Stone maybe if he goes up in trip. But I just thought, it's not going to be the strongest race again. It's like these intermediate. It's like you don't really get. They either go Champion Chase or Gold Cup, and you're trying to find that bit in the middle. And obviously Allaho's dominated, but I just thought Envoy Allen coming back. There'll be no Shishkin or anybody like that. It looks like a race he could come back and win. And the Champion Chase was the one that I just thought, watching that race back, he was there, he was fit, he was looking at his best, and I just thought he's got a good chance that I'd take him. I think he's going to have a good season and see where he goes. Fingers crossed. What do you think, George? Is it win or is it lose?
I love Envoy Allen. I really, really, really like him, and he's just one of these horses that there's just like a general feeling around racing, well, certainly before the Ryanair, that he's a disappointment. Yeah, because everyone billed him as the next Arkle, what horse can ever live up to that?
Yeah.
You look through his form. He's underperformed relatively few times. He was unlucky to fall at Cheltenham, and obviously he pulled up a Punchdown after that. Mm-hmm. But that's a novice having a fall. Obviously not stuffing out of him.
And he switched yards, didn't he, as well?
Yeah, and he switched yards. He got beaten by Allaho, Punchdown in December the following season. Third in a champion chase over 2 mile, third in a Punchestown champion chase over 2 mile, which we know was too short. And he travelled into that champion chase really eye-catchingly. He really knocked your eye out that day. Then he won a Grade 1 on reappearance at Down Royal last year, and somehow that wasn't good enough. He was beat in a King George where a lot of horses underperformed. There were a lot of things set out, Low Sun and Venetia's.
I put line through that big time.
Yeah, L'Empresse jumped out the side. I'd forgive anything that ran bad that day.
I mean, Brave Man's Game won the race, so the form is terrible. So
yeah. And then on his reappearance this year, we know he doesn't run well on reappearance, and he doesn't seem to take much racing. He seems to often get beaten on the first and last start of the year. He got well beat at Punchdown that season, and then he's been beaten 8.5 lengths by the winning most horse in Willie Mullins' yard. Do you know what I mean? And I thought he's ran brilliant yesterday. I can't see. I'm happy to take advantage of everyone saying he's a disappointment because, Jesus, you pay any money for a horse like him. He's a once in a lifetime horse to have in your yard.
Yeah, definitely.
Just can't understand the sort of general feeling of disappointment around him.
I mean, they're not machines, are they?
No, exactly. And you got to think his biggest danger is Allaho, who reasonably good chance he might not get there compared to other horses. There's a problem. There's half a chance he won't get there, and I think if he does get there, Allaho's more likely to step up in trip than Envoy Allen is. We know Envoy Allen's trip, and that's something you don't get every day. When you're anti-post betting, is looking at it going, if the one horse that can beat him gets there, they probably won't run it there because it's the same owners. I struggle to find anything else to beat him, to be honest. It always cuts up into a bad race on the day. He'll handle the ground when it inevitably chucks it down just on Champion Chase Day and no other day.
Yep.
I'd be really happy to be with him even at this point. I think that was as good a race as he's ever run first time out, to be honest. I think he got an RPR of 167, which actually is his joint best on Racing Post ratings.
Yeah, I just think, like you say, that was. I mean, his reappearance, he obviously got beat, blah blah blah. But it looked like he's obviously getting older, so maybe they're just bringing him along a bit more. Wanted to get a running swim before they took him on the champion pace again, and I just thought, like you say, he's got an equivalent to one of his best runs, and I just thought it was really good. And that made me think, let's pull the trigger, let's go for it. And like you say, it's just a race to see who gets there, really. But I like what you said about if they both get there, would they step Allaho up? Would they think, you know what, it's probably going to be one of his last years. Let's have a go to Gold Cup, maybe. Who knows? But I just thought at the price, definitely worth a chance, and we'll see what happens. Like you say, we're all taking long punts on this with this anti-post a long way out, but yeah.
He's not easy either. I know the bloke that rides him out at home every day, because I was at Henry's for a few months before, unfortunately, COVID closed the world down. Yeah. But I know the bloke that rides him every day. He's by Mahathir, which are lunatics. One broke my back August before last at Fontball. And he's out of a Sons Mare, and they're lunatics as well. Like, and I think there was a story, I can't think what podcast it was on, but it might well have been an MX podcast. They were talking to Jamie Codd. He said, "Oh, this is like that Envoy LN that you rode in the bumper. Like, how's he? Do you get to ride him much?" He said, "Well, I ran him once and he ran away with me, and Gordon never let me anywhere near him again." This is a horse that could be getting better as he gets older. He's getting a bit more sensible. Like, he's very, very headstrong at home, and that could well be why he's getting beat his last run of the season every year. He's burning himself out at home. I think there's every chance he could not keep getting better, but get more professional, and just by, like, he's not got more ability than he had as a 7 or an 8-year-old, but he could be more able to translate it onto the track.
Yeah, and I mean, like you say, if that's the case, then fantastic. I mean, a lot of people might be put off by 9-year-olds, 10-year-olds, whatever, but like you say, he just seems to be getting better. And if, like you say, I mean, to call him a disappointment, he's kind of crazy. He's been at the festival and won so many times and stuff like that. But I hope he goes and wins one more time, and fingers crossed. Right, so that's it for my festival for week 4 then. So we're going to come to you then, George. You're going to give us a massive double figure price nap of the week, I'm sure. Who's your anti-post punt for this week?
Just checking his price, actually, because I didn't check his price, but I can't get it up here. But mine is going to be Champ Kylie for the Brown Advisory. He's a horse I really liked last year. Like, they got it all wrong with him in the Royal Bond behind Marine Nationale? Yeah, the Royal Bond. They dropped him in, and obviously then there was no pace on. They absolutely hacked, and he just pulled himself into a hole. Like, I thought that day he was probably the best horse in the race, and he sort of proved that he hadn't run his race next time out when he went to Nace and beat Irish Point 2 1/4 lengths, who finished in front of him at Fairy House. I thought he ran a perfectly credible race to get beaten by a couple of very quick horses next twice. He got beat by Imperi Pass and Gaelic Warrior the first time, and then Imperi Pass and High Definition the next time. I just think he's got done for toe, and he's a horse that I'd expect now he'll settle better. He'll be a year older. He's going to have to settle better, because I think the only race they're going to take him to is the Brown Advisory. If everything gets there in one piece, Willie's going to have Facile Vega in the Arkle. His main one would probably be Gaelic Warrior in the Turners, but I think there's a good chance he ends up with Il Était Temps there as well, who we shouldn't forget is a Grade 1 winner now. And I think that just pushes Champ Kylie into the Brown Advisory, which wouldn't worry me. He's by Okavango. He should stay all day. But he'd be one of those horses that he probably wasn't that quick last year, but he was just keen. And if he can, he's going to enjoy his first couple of novice chases. He's going to be allowed to do what he wants on the front end. And fences just might back him off and make him settle a bit better. He's a horse, I think, really the sky's the limit with him. And it just might happen that the Brown Advisory ends up being a much weaker race this year. I'm struggle to really think of much to take him on with. Like, I think the Turners could be a better race than we're used to seeing, purely because Mullins is going to have to run 2 or 3 there, and the Arkle's going to be absolutely red hot. I just think this could be one that slips through the cracks. Like, I don't know if you've got the price up there now, but
yeah, I just looked. It was down as 20-1 currently.
Yeah, that's going to disappear when he wins his first novice chase by 15 lengths, isn't it? Which you would expect him to. Like, that wouldn't tell us any more about him winning a novice chase by 15 lengths. You go, that's the horse I saw last year. I don't know anymore, and he'll go from 20s into probably 12s at least. So I think purely in terms of this being an anti-post sort of platform, the second this horse runs, his price is going to half. So I would be trying to get on board now. I got on board in April.
What price did you get back in April?
God, I have to check it here. Let me have a look.
I mean, it's unfortunate that obviously he's going to get beat by Rocco, but if he does turn up,
but that's the other thing is they don't seem keen to go up to 3 miles, do they?
Well, this is the only issue. Obviously, we went and spoke to the guys and a few people that are involved, and we obviously got the vibe that 3 mile was going to be the case for the Rocco, and obviously the performance the other day at 2.5, and Ollie coming out and sort of saying, we'll maybe go a backing trip, or if the ground maybe is a little bit soft, then maybe stay at this trip. So that's probably going to be a bit of a fly in the ointment. But it's certainly a tasty one. And obviously, got the likes of Giovinco, horses like that have been running Brown Advisory. I mean, Gaelic Warrior is definitely an interesting one. And you said would you think would he struggle over 3 mile Gaelic Warrior? Would you not go like the Turners with the way that he jumps out to his right a little bit?
Yeah, no, 100%. That's what I'm saying. I think they'll definitely go Turners with him, which sort of leaves Champ Kylie as the only one in the Brown Advisory. He's the way I think he's going to split them up. It's going to end up like that. And to be honest, if I had another one to give, it'd probably be Allaho Tom to beat him in the Turners. I think he's a wonderful horse. Who's probably again needs to settle a bit better. It's one of these, either the fences will back him off or they won't, and he'll end up on the deck. But if they back him up a bit, like I hope they will, he'd be a real threat in the Turners. And again, he's one who just floats under the radar every time. He's a wonderful horse who just keeps running into top classes out there because Mullins can't keep them all apart. But come to Cheltenham, it's a bit easier to split them all up. And Gaelic Warrior's disappointed at the festival before, and I think Allaho Tom has pretty much always run his race. Like I've very rarely watched him run and think that's not him. I would probably be more going down the Allaho Tom route in the Turners if I had to have a bet now.
Brilliant. And so what I'll do is I'll ask you one more question then before we finish. Obviously, last week we had a massive debate over the old Marine Nationale Facile Vega debate. I'd love to get your opinion on it. Which way would you fall between them two and the Arkle before we've seen them both run over fences?
I think I'd go Marine Nationale.
Get in there, George. We've had 2 jockeys on my side now. Come on.
He's pure pace. I know the Arkle does sort of, over time, it will sort of throw out a Gold Cup winner or something as you go on. It's sort of that weird thing of you almost want to go Supreme, Arkle, Gold Cup, which doesn't seem to make any sense. But I think it's because they go faster for longer in the Arkle and the Supreme that stamina's actually at more of a premium than it is in the Turners and the Ballymore. But as a Facile Vega, we've seen little bits of holes starting to creep in, and I think over time he's going to want further. Like by walking the park, again, having just said he's definitely going Arkle, that's presuming he's not going to run into anything any good before Cheltenham. He's not going to be tested unless they take him to the Dublin Racing Festival, which they might. That'd be the thing for me. If he gets found out at the Dublin Racing Festival, the bookies will be laughing because I think he'll go Turners instead. But if he goes to the Arkle, I don't think he's got the pace to live with Marine Nationale, provided Marine Nationale jumps.
Yeah, it's sort of. I mean, sometimes I do think, is it Willie just been like keeping him to 2 mile? Is it just Willie being lucky? I've always said I really like this fella. We're going to stick to it, but obviously Joe will be buzzing that you're on the Marine Nationale side. But I think it does come down to how he jumps. It's going to be interesting. What are your thoughts, Joe? Before we finish, you want to pipe up there about Marine?
Yeah, mate. I've seen Barry Connell come out and say that he's ground dependent today.
He's running scared already, isn't he?
What are your thoughts on the fact that we're probably going to see him maybe a max twice and not till Christmas, probably?
It doesn't bother me, to be fair, because obviously he had a bit of like a sketchy sort of prep last year. He was off. They didn't give him a break over summer and stuff like that. And heading into the festival, I think he ran over Christmas and he didn't run. He run in the Royal Bond. Royal Bond just beaten Irish. Was it Irish Point? Yeah.
Irish Point. Yeah.
Yeah, and then didn't run again. But obviously he won that on soft. We know Irish Point's a steer, and obviously he showed his pace that day. I don't think he's ground dependent. I just think he's a bit wary. I mean, he said it as well underneath. He said he was ground dependent and probably realised, well, he isn't, because we've seen him one on, it was very soft in Ireland that day. I think he just doesn't want to give him a grueler first time out over the fences. So I wouldn't be worried about that. Obviously, last year he had a big break before he went into the festival anyway. To be fair, I wouldn't be too bothered about his schedule. I'll be more bothered to see how he jumps first time out. I think if he does jump well first time out, I think he's going to go a lot shorter. But obviously, some horses don't take to it. He seems very confident about it. He mentioned the Arkle straight after the Supreme last year. He's got a cracking turn of foot. I think he's the one to be on.
Fantastic, mate. Well, like I say, we'll soon find out. Like I think the most people that are going to get people scared is the fact that we're not going to see him over fences more than maybe once or twice. But like you say, if he does jump, he's going to be very hard to beat. And but I am sticking in the Facile Vega camp. I think I'll stick on Richie's team for now. Whether I'll put him in my team, I don't know. I might do later on, but we shall see. Right, boys, that's it for another episode. So I'll just say a few words. Obviously, we've got the next preview will be on Thursday night at 7 o'clock, and we're back every Monday for the Cheltenham Festival show. Week 5 next week. So we'll be adding more. Don't forget a few more good guests on, but they'll do well to come up to the level of George's words tonight. So, George, just obviously thank you for coming, giving up your time for us and giving us a load of good insight. We really appreciate it. It's been class having you on.
Yeah, no problem at all. Anytime.
Fantastic, mate. And obviously we'll keep on it and we'll keep putting as much good content out we can. And any last words, Rich? You got any last words before we go?
No, it's just been good to have you on, George. You know, hopefully get you on another time, let you on close to the festival.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, and Joe, obviously we're looking forward to next week, and obviously GSI, the El Fabiolo Marine National Double. Is that your final word? Is it?
Yeah, 100%. After Sol said it last week, and then George has just confirmed it there. I've just booked my taxi to Paddy Power Shop in Millsborough Town, so I'll be heading there, getting stuck in on the double. No, thanks for coming on, George. Really enjoyed it. Very, very good insights. Like you say, hopefully we have you on again just before some big festivals this season.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's nice to have people on who actually know what they're talking about than just listening to us three. But fantastic. The final word is obviously anyone who's subscribed, and I know people have been putting their teams in the comments. Make sure you get your teams in. We're going to announce next week what the prize is for the best subscriber team. Got a few bits in there, so that'd be quite good. Rich has got a big spreadsheet to keep them all in there. So make sure you keep up with them comments and keep up with the debate. And my final word is, where's Apple away? Where's Apple away? She's nowhere to be seen. And that's how I'll finish. But yeah, see you all next week, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Like and subscribe. And we will see you all again next time. Thank you and goodbye.
Cheers.